Hello, everyone. We are on a new unit. It's Unit 7. It's 19th century perspectives and political developments, and it starts with nationalism, which is right here. We've already talked a great length about nationalism, so this is just going to go a little bit further, but don't worry, it's not too much. A lot of these slideshows are just pictures, so it's not too many slides. 7.3 is the doozy one, so we just have to mentally prepare for that. I'm still not feeling great, but I felt bad for not posting one for 6.5, so which was the concert of Europe and Metternich. So here we go. Without further ado, if I still haven't lost you after that test, thanks for listening. All right. Explain how the development and spread of nationalism affected Europe from 1815 to 1914. Oh, we're almost there. We're almost at 1914. So by the end of this unit, we're going to be able to understand all the tensions that are boiling up uh, for World War One. All right, here we go. 7.2 nationalism. Nationalism. It all started from a guy named Napoleon, right, from France, and during his Napoleonic Wars, when he was spreading, going all throughout Europe, he was spreading his revolutionary ideals, his nationalism, into places that he conquered. And it stuck, right? It stuck. You can see the Springtime of Nations, where it stuck to Greece, it stuck to Hungary, it got into Russians' heads, it got into Germans' heads, it got into Italians' heads, right? That we need to organize ourselves and we need to be politically strong. And these bonds are strengthened through shared history and shared language. This is most notably through the Greece independence in 1821, right, where the Greece people are being oppressed by the Ottomans due to their history and language, and so they are fighting back to bring so they can get their own country back. This is a real barn burner. So, what makes up a nation state? The people and the land. So the people who share the common language and culture, and the land in which people live and surrounded by borders on a map. All right. So rise in nationalism is causing more and more Europeans to demand their own state where they can live with their own people. And it resonates with people throughout many different ways, and so these are the 4 ways we're going to talk about today. Romantic idealism, which we've kind of talked about already. Liberal reforms, we've definitely talked about. Political unification, we've briefly talked about. And racialism, which we have not talked about yet. So romantic idealism, right? This aura, this mystery, this beautiful nature, right? Very romantic. Pondering guy. Ah, yes. We see these artists and writers, they're glorifying the past, they're drawing emotion, right? The best examples, we've kind of talked about these, were the Grimm brothers, right? Where their stories are relating to Germans, and Germans feel very proud of the Grimm brothers. And then we see a new guy come about, Victor Hugo, and he's the one who wrote Les Mis, which is about all the revolutions in France. Once again, just to kind of recap, Grimm brothers, it made Germans feel more Germans, and Les Mis, it made French people feel more French. That is kind of the thing you need to take away. The literature was trying to build people together. All right. Liberal reforms. We've talked about these a bunch, so I don't want to go too hard in the details. You have to think one person you really got to know is Napoleon III with that crazy stash. All right. And after the revolution, he decided he did not want to be a president anymore. So he did what any smart person would do. He declared himself emperor, and he dissolved the Second National Assembly. The first one was in the French Revolution. This one is the new one, but he dissolved it. However, a big takeaway that is different from him from other emperors is he actually listened to the people. What? Crazy. He ended up giving universal male suffrage, which then made him popular. And then, which made him what improved it even more, was he opened for international trade. Oh, I can't highlight with this, Mubby. Through cooperating foreign markets. So working with doing international trade deals really boosted the economy, which then he used that money to fix Paris's infrastructure, with which he used George Haussmann's where George Haussmann really like plowed France, or not plowed France, plowed Paris and then rebuilt it, and then he built the park for the poor people and built the park for the rich people. So George Haussmann got that money because Napoleon III was so successful at international trade, which means now that we have male suffrage, we have money coming in, and infrastructure is improving, French nationalism, all-time high. All right, local unification. So, the best part, we could go either Germany or we could go Italy. So I went the Italian route because we haven't talked about them in a while. All right. So Manzini. Usually I post a picture of these people. Oh, there he is. Manzini pushed to unite Italy. Remember, Italy's a bunch of city-states still, right? They were city-states in the Renaissance period, and they're still city-states in the mid-19th century. So Manzini formed a movement called the Young Italy, where they staged up revolts all throughout Italy. Um, the young, uh, the Young Italy rebellions, though, were not successful. All right, and then when it was time for the Springtime of Nations, they had a little revolution, and it also failed. However, like German, although they failed a bunch, they still had a strong desire to unite one day. And so you have this Italian nationalism that one day we can finally unite. And it's very similar to German, too. All right, then racialism. This is the one we haven't really discussed yet. All right, racialism. It's the idea where my race or one race is better or superior than others. All right. And once again, nationalism is an identification. So try not to get those two mixed up. Um, they're similar but different. Um, therefore, So there are definitely positives and negatives of racialism. I remember we were talking about this. I think it was like Noah where we were talking. He's like, there's positives. There's positives and negatives to everything. Do negatives outweigh the positives sometimes? Do positives outweigh the negatives? Yeah, but we'll see. All right, so positive racialism. The positive side is the Pan-Slavic movement. All right. If you don't know your southeastern Europe, it's which there's about it's right over here somewhere. Right, the Baltics. Not the nope, the Baltics. Uh, you know, Serbia, Slovenia, Croatia, all those places. Um, this group is the Slavics, the Slavs. All right. And they're under the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the Ottoman Empire. And they start to feel a real sense of identification, because they know who they are, and they know that they're constantly being oppressed, and so they are trying to work together, similarly to the Greeks, where they're trying to get their country back, essentially. But they've never had a country, so they're kind of in a weird spot. A big thing to remind you is that Russia, this giant Russian country, is a Slavic nation. So they do support their little brothers in these small Slavic pockets. And then you might be wondering, why is it an Austrian-Hungarian Empire? Isn't it just the Austrian Empire? Well, we'll talk about why Austro-Hungary becomes a thing. All right, then negative racialism. All right, the negative side is anti-Semitic. I really cannot think or talk today. Anti-Semitism. All right, it's the belief that Jewish people are inferior, right, dangerous, or responsible for problems in society. We've probably heard of this before in middle school and early high school. So we're just kind of reviewing. Many European states pass laws that recognize. Sorry, let me go back. So during the age of Metternich, right, we have peace throughout most of Europe. Why do we have peace throughout most of Europe? It's because during the age of Metternich specifically, many European states started recognizing Jewish equality. And so a lot of these European states were outlawing harsh Jewish treatment. So they were providing equality towards Jewish people and getting rid of unfair laws that could be harmful against them. So that's good. But since we see a rise in nationalism, we also see a rise in anti-Semitism. All right, so the big key event, and I'll go back and highlight these. I know. So one key event was the Dreyfus Affair. There he is right there. Uh, he was a Jewish person who was also captain in the French army, but he was accused of treason, allegedly because he leaked secret info to help the newly formed German country. And you're like, what? Newly formed? Don't worry. 7.3. We'll get through all of this, so don't worry. All right. So, Alfred Dreyfus, Jewish person, captain of the army, very high rank. However, he was accused of giving secret information to Germany. There he is. So he was found guilty, and it divided French society into two. All right. Some argued it was simply because he was Jewish and that's why he was accused. But then others say it was exactly because he was Jewish, because that is why, and therefore the charges are believable. So it really split up France socially. And then just for closure, 10 years later, he eventually was pardoned, but the damages were already done within society. Now, the effect outside of France. So the Dreyfus Affair awakened the beast, all right, the anti-Semitic beast in Eastern Europe, all right? Eastern Europe is down here, right? There is obviously this is the Pale. We've talked about this. This is where Catherine the Great sent all her lovely people to have wonderful lives. That's a joke. It is not a fun place to be. So, in pogroms were established, and pogroms are all the things in the red, and these are violent attacks on Jewish people, and these could be assaults, could be killing, it could be stealing property, all for the reason because you're a Jewish person. Oh, I'm not going to finish in time. 21. Oh, I got 40 seconds. I don't know if I can do this in 40 seconds. In response to the growing anti-Semitism, a Jewish nationalist movement, Zionism is born. Huzzah! All right, Herzl, he is the man in charge. He is from Germany. He is Jewish, and he has a big dream that the German people should have, nope, not the German people, that Jewish people should have a land of their own, and that land ought to be their ancestral home in Palestine. Well, with that, we're going to have to take a stop because I want to get cut off from this. So, see you.